Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are. This is the Roaming Prepper channel, and I'm your host, Pete, and we're going to do yet another story or another summary of news and headlines from around the globe. I reorganized it a little bit this last week, and this week as well I made some more changes. I'm trying to kind of keep a little bit of a flow going so that the news isn't so erratic and we're jumping subjects back and forth. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you like to share, that would be most awesome. And if you don't like it or what I said made you sad or nauseous or something, feel free to, give me a thumbs down if that floats your boat. But in any case, with no further ado, let's go on to discuss the news. We're going to start with the international news. For now, we're going to then go to other news from there. So, the U.S. is finally hitting back at Iran's murderous proxies, according to The Hill. Now, I find this particular article interesting because the U.S. basically told Hezbollah in Iran, point blank, if you guys try to sucker punch the Israelis while they're dealing with the other crap, we're going to shoot your shit down. Which is funny because Iran has been all puffed up about God knows what. And ironically, right after I saw this particular article, there was another one stating that Iran has basically told Hamas, well guys, you executed that operation without our consent and without informing us, therefore you're on your own, you own this. Now personally, I think it's BS. I think it's a way to retreat and save face at the same time, because Iran knows we will bomb the crap out of them, and there's no way that this particular attack was executed without help from Russia or Iran or someone. Anyway, moving on to that same vein of conversation, Israeli troops find Hamas tunnels at hospital and 2 hostage bodies. Unfortunately, they did not rescue those persons in a timely manner. They clearly, it did not state whether Hamas killed them or if they were killed in the firefight or in a bombing. It's kind of vague. This is from the Daily Mail. However, the IDF, I know some folks are not fans of them, but they've done a very good job fighting the publicity battle in that they've been showing videos of everything they're finding, and they're bringing news reporters right up to the very edge of the firefight. So, basically once they secure the area, those reporters walk right in and they kind of walk through what they're seeing. This is very interesting. Israel's tanks are also very interesting. They're set up to fight close quarter urban warfare. And watching how they're fighting and how the insurgents are fighting, as preppers, we can take a lot of lessons as to what a conflict in our streets would look like. So, if nothing else, get some information and knowledge from this. On another note, the Israeli media advocate accepts news outlets' denials about the Hamas attack. Now, this got clipped, sadly, I just realized this, but this particular article was stating that there was a rumor going around social media that Associated Press, Reuters, Al Jazeera had reporters embedded with Hamas during the attack. Like they were told, hey, we're going to go do something, send us a reporter. And they went over, and the news media is saying, no, we literally had no idea they were going to do this, and that they were going to kill you or attack you or whatever. Israel was about to start kicking reporters out of the country, and I guess they finally got into an agreement that, yeah, clearly the mainstream media was not embedded with the attacking Hamas force. Regardless of how you believe this went down, I find fascinating information and a lot of lessons to be learned in what we just saw with this attack. Sadly, it's been very bloody, but take it for that vein, for learning. Experts raise alarm after Biden strikes agreement with China to shut down fossil fuels. We all know that, actually in this article, this is from Fox News, China doesn't always follow through with what they say they're going to do, so we're going to cut fossil fuels because we're stupid, and they're going to continue doing whatever the hell they want to do. And that's basically what's probably going to happen. What also concerns me is that not only will this adversely affect our economy and the cost of our goods, but this will also affect our ability to defend ourselves. Our strategic petroleum reserve is the lowest it's been in a very long time, and quite honestly, it almost seems like we're deliberately trying to run out of fuel so that we cannot sustain any kind of operation. Now, that's just me being snarky, but yes, I do have my questions about the logic being used here. Moving on to some domestic news now. At least 6 officers were injured in an anti-Israel protest, but if you look at the headline, it says pro-Hamas protest in D.C. was a performance to demonize Israel. I would agree with that. There seems to be a lot of showboating with the protesters. Now, what I find ironic is many of the people who are pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas, honest to God, would be considered haram in Hamas's control. If they, for instance, went to Palestine, they would be put in jail, they would be beaten, they would be raped, they would be thrown off of buildings because the lifestyles and the freedoms we enjoy in the West are not approved in those countries. So the weirdness is definitely there. They did arrest quite a few people, supposedly. And then, these same people are crying. It's very interesting watching this group of people implode because now nobody knows who to support. Other domestic news: U.S. snow warning. America braces for El Nino winter to unleash Snowmageddon. This is so stupid the way they do this. Snowmageddon. It's an El Nino. I remember these weather events from when I was a kid. You'd have 3 or 4 years of massive snowfall, and then you'd have 3 or 4 years where it wasn't much. Folks, just prepare accordingly. Make sure your vehicle has the right tires. If you need chains in your state, which really isn't a thing anymore, make sure you have them. Make sure you use the right oil when you get your oil change. Keep some fuel on hand. Use stabilizer if you're storing it. Winterize your pipes. Plan your trips if you're going to get caught in snow, rain, sleet, ice. Use this as simply information to make you or help you make a better decision. Don't freak out and say, oh, Snowmageddon. That's just silly. Anyway, speaking of silly, new resolution filed to expel GOP Rep. George Santos from Congress. For the record, I've listened to this guy defend himself. This guy is truly comes off as a douche. He claims he was Jewish, and then he says, no, I'm not, I didn't say I was Jewish, I was Jew-ish, like funny-ish, or paying attention-ish. Like he started changing words. Anyway, his girlfriend got money from the campaign. This guy's just a screwball. This dingbat. At the very least, they just shouldn't re-elect him this coming year. I mean, kicking him out now is kind of pointless. It does sound like he will not be running again, but these career politicians need to go. This is a bunch of bullshit. You'd be better off with 535 random ass people from America who graduated high school, and they could probably do a better job than these morons. Anyway, speaking of morons, the stock market. So oil rebounds after sharp week-long sell-off on supply-demand concerns. As of the time of this video, it was sitting at $75 a barrel. Not a bad thing. I was seeing $2.62 a gallon here in the state of Texas. Now, where this can go sideways, if the war in the Middle East expands, it's going to affect oil supply. Iran controls parts or can affect the Suez Canal, where a lot of tankers go through. There can be a lot of problems that result of an expanded war. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully our leaders or various leaders are not that stupid. But keep an eye on the fuel prices, because that does cascade down. We saw that last year. As the fuel prices took off, it made groceries much more expensive. So while the price is down, now's a good time to stock up on stuff. Just saying, if you can afford it, try to time it so that you're picking up product while the prices are lower. U.S. intends to provide Ukraine with $500 million to strengthen the energy system. So this one, I guess I put it in the economic news. I should have put it in stupid news. our infrastructure is caca. Like, we need to improve our shit. But we're going to send 500 million to Ukraine, who's in a war. So anything they build, the Russians are going to come and shoot the crap out of it, because that's what they're doing to each other. So why? I don't know what this is. This is dumb. 500 million, we could probably house a lot of the illegal immigrants in a proper manner and process them correctly, and maybe improve our immigration system so they're not sneaking into the damn country. But, regardless of where you stand on that, we need to stop sending money elsewhere. We're printing money like drunk sailors. Anyway, speaking of drunks and stupid, the Biden-Xi summit. What's next for U.S.-China relations? So there's a video that I should have downloaded for this right after the meeting, and basically the president told the Chinese president, well, we understand there's a one China philosophy. We understand Taiwan is an extension of China, but we want to see a peaceful reunification, status quo, blah, blah, blah. Then, like 3 hours later, on the podium says that the President Xi is a dictator, and Anthony Blinken's face, the State Department Secretary of State, who has gone to China repeatedly trying to reconnect and fix this, his face is priceless. He almost looks like someone flicked him on the forehead. He makes this pained look, and it's like the guy said the quiet part out loud. I don't even know what to make of this, but they sure as hell cleaned up San Francisco really nice for the communist dictator, didn't they? That just pisses me off. Anyway, going back to economy, dropping grain prices may lead to stronger corn and soybean demand, tighter wheat supplies. So, again, not to freak people out, this is good information. So, there may be issues going forward with the supplies of certain staples, such as, if there's stronger corn and soybean demand, wheat supply may be difficult to obtain. Watch for those prices as they're changing, because they cycle, right? They go up, they go down, and try to pick up what you need when the pricing is favorable to you. Now, sadly, sometimes one's money situation is not favorable at the same time as the pricing, so you kind of got to, work that way. But in any case, folks, look, this is information you can walk away with and say, okay, well, if we're going to have corn or grain demand issues, maybe I should pick up a little more now. If you can afford it. Remember, budget. Once again, I'm going to bring up the travel tips because this is important. If you're traveling, and many of us are, plan alternative methods on getting home. Let people you trust know where you are. Schedule reputable transport. Print physical maps of anywhere you're going. And if you're going overseas, get your foreign currency before you get on the plane. I have family members actually going to Turkey for business, and they've already picked up their currency at a lower rate, and they have the foreign cash. So as soon as they get on their airplane, they don't have to show American dollars and flag themselves as Americans. So always a good idea. Make sure you prepare ahead. If you're wondering, for instance, once you're on the trip, how to dress like a local, that's actually pretty easy to do. Look on Google Maps, do the street view, and look at the people walking up and down the street and try to match them. I don't like using American money overseas unless it's specifically at a bank or an airport. If I'm on the streets in Buenos Aires, or if I'm out in, UK is not as bad, Buenos Aires or some other countries, I always use the local money. At least have a flashlight with you. That's always a good EDC. Keep physical maps, but don't stand there in the middle of the street looking at the map like a tourist. You're just going to stand out. If you got to get your bearings, find a cafe or something, sit in a park bench, and then just open the map and look like someone reading a paper. Don't sit there like a knucklehead. Today's quote of inspiration: it is not often that a man can make opportunities for himself, but he can put himself in such shape that when or if the opportunities come, he is ready. That is the pre-prepper Theodore Roosevelt. I couldn't agree with this guy more. If you make the decisions on an ongoing basis to have positive outcomes, or to put the odds in your favor of a positive outcome, chances are you're going to get positive outcomes. Not always the case, obviously. Shit happens. We all know that. But this is a great example of having the mentality to set yourself up for success, whether it's in preparedness, whether it's in business, whether it's in your personal life. And sometimes you will have negative entities or negative people. Those you either need to make distance from or cut them out entirely. But I thought that was a good quote for this week. And as always, I'm going to bring up the fact that thousands of minors are trafficked weekly. Again, be alert to the signs of abuse, black eyes, burn marks, shy, skittishness, a very squirrely behavior. We've actually seen cases where, kids that were in the circle of friends of my own children were having issues. The kids were hesitant to go home. They were kind of skittish. Or one of them just straight up said, my parents are having a divorce and I don't want to be there. So, we wound up with extra kids in the house every so often. And, we'd call the parents. But, folks, if you can be that adult or that friend or that parent, and that doesn't have to be for kids either. Keep in mind, women, even men, get abused in relationships. Try to be that friend. Obviously, don't get in trouble, don't get confrontational, but if you can at least pick out those signs, you can at least be aware that there may be a problem and you can reach out. Human trafficking hotline, 888-373-7888. Or you can text HELP to 233-733. So keep those numbers handy and keep an eye on people around you, especially the vulnerable, especially the kids, because they seem to really be targeting children lately, and that really pisses me off. But anyway, I digress. We're going to move on from all the bullshit. As always, I'm going to do my little pitch. If you want to support the channel, I have a variety of discount codes: ReadyWise, ETA Living, Wallaby Goods, and my affiliation with 1791 Holsters, which is actually one of my favorite carry holsters. Again, make sure these products fit in your budget. I try to do reviews of anything I either mention or I'm affiliated with so that you can see the product yourself. It may not make sense for you. It may not make sense for your budget. It may not fit your need. It may not fit your clothing. It may not work. It may look weird to you. Whatever the case is, always do your budget. Again, like, share, subscribe. That helps me plenty. But if you happen to be buying these and you're like, hey, I'm going to go buy ReadyWise, feel free to use my code. Save yourself a little money. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the summary of news and headlines from around the globe. And once again, I'd like to thank you for joining me as we talked about some of the news. I'm really trying hard not to get snarky, but it seems like as we get toward the end of the year, I see more dumb shit. And then it just agitates me. And then I start cursing in my videos, which my Monday night videos, I'm trying not to do that. In any case, I will be on the road, and I may be, if I'm not in this premiere, it may be because I'm on the border filming what's going on. And yes, I may be on the border, so that's going to be interesting. In any case, folks, be safe out there. God bless, Godspeed. Say prayers for our troops because they are going out again. And I'm not happy about it, but, it is what it is. And stay frosty out there. Be prepared as best you can with your time, money, resources, and knowledge. And don't hesitate to ask questions. Most mornings during the week, I'm trying to do a short live stream. It varies in time, anywhere from 7 in the morning to 11 in the morning, whenever I can get free. I try to do the boots on the ground or other topics so you guys can kind of hear what's up. In any case, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you on the next video. Godspeed and take care.